and so I asked her if she would join us tonight because she has a lot of things to poke me in the side with. Remember to say this, remember to say that kind of thing.
We won't notice her kicking you under the table when you get a little long-winded.
She could do that.
I've seen that polite kick a few times.
Yes. Yep.
Nice to see you again. Of course, you're always asked about when am I gonna have you on, and such. And a lot of times I try to put a little space so that way it builds anticipation. Isn't that how that goes?
You're the boss. If that's how it goes, it's because you said it's how it goes.
Well, at least for the night. It sounded good anyways. So welcome. Yes, definitely. I'm really enthused that both of you guys are here because you guys are like the yin and yang that I know.
Don't try to say which one is which.
I wouldn't dare.
Okay.
I don't want to insult you like that.
We're seriously, Scott, we're glad to be here tonight. I love this channel. I love watching the videos. Just so much appreciate the people that tune in to this.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's a pretty hardcore group that comes in every time. I'm really impressed that they take the time to come in. Now, before we get too deep into the subjects, because tonight's topic is going to be paranormal investigators and coexisting with religious aspects. Now, obviously, you cannot speak for all religious backgrounds.
I can, but it would be wrong.
Well, I give you the go ahead to go as far with it as you care to.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I know you said that Missy helps you with your channel, and she's doing very well with hers.
Oh yeah, she's outstanding. That's really what got us going. Was that she does a program on her business, on her home business, and the following has just gotten really. She's got a great following, and a lot of people that like and subscribe to her channel, and she's a hoot. But she's feel free to. She's just herself on the channel, and that's it. And then she encouraged me to do one, really to do some biblical teaching and some perspective for people who maybe don't have an attachment to church. Maybe they do, but there's just a simple thirst and hunger for more and for truth and for just discussion and that kind of thing. So that kind of got me launched here a couple of weeks back, and we're just now starting to build it. The whole my particular channel is called Dr. Dale on Deck, Dr. Dale on Deck, and it's because
we started to ask you to your name, both of your channels. I wasn't aware that she was going to be on, so I didn't put hers on. Is this good?
We didn't tell you,
and I appreciate that because I would have got flustered and not know what to say.
Yeah,
is this correct? Scrolling down at the bottom.
Yes, that's right for mine. It's just that there's no period there. It's just Dr. Dale on Deck.
Well,
it's on YouTube, and then Melissa's. What's your channel? Just Melissa Johnson. How's that?
Nice. Without the just, right?
Without what?
Just.
Correct. And that's not in it either. Correct is fine. No, just Melissa Johnson.
And I'm very. I was seeing how your channel was growing there, and I know I was offering a little advice at start, and then I was like, "Wow, she's doing 100 million times better than mine. I should be asking for your help."
Each thing has its purpose. I mean, you have viewers that have some channels that we like to tune into once in a while, and when we have the opportunity. Life is pretty busy for everyone, but what you and other paranormal investigators bring to the table that people need to see is very important. It's really vital. And I'll say this right up front so that anybody that happens to tune in, I just want to say that Scott, is the thing we really appreciate about you is how genuine, how real you are. When we first connected, how long ago has it been?
It's probably been close to 10 years, over 10 years.
I was going to say about 10 years ago. And And that first meeting, I didn't know what I was going to, whether it was an AA meeting or what it was, but we ended up at that first meeting, and the end result of that was a long-term, I believe a lifelong relationship. And
I definitely feel the same, and I believe everybody else in the family feels the same. I mean, it's above a group now, I believe.
I've been like 11, 12.
Oh, it has been. She says about 11 or 12 years. Yeah.
Right.
We're tracing history back as it relates. Sorry about that. I wanted to adjust my seat. We're tracing history back to when Ursula Buller first invited us to come to the Warren area Society of the Paranormal. And Betsy. Betsy, yeah, you worked with her. But anyways, that was the whole thing, and the confidence we had. And of course, I think that I knew you before that, Scott, from whatever the connection might have been. But
in general passing, I think. Yeah,
in general passing. But the one thing that we've just found in this relationship, it's genuine. The work that you do. I was just telling Melissa during dinner, we went out to dinner, and I was saying, I've never heard, and I'm not saying this to blow you up or give you an unhealthy ego. I'm just telling you, I've never heard anybody speak negatively about you. Everybody has a positive view of you that I've ever talked to where you've come up, whether it was your day job or anything, or involvement with this society, with this paranormal investigation team. A lot of people ask me, why, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Why would we be involved with something like this? And my question is always, well, why not? I mean, that's really what we're designed to do. And I'm just grateful. And I think this has been while I've done some work with some other groups when they've called on, when the need has arisen. The reality is this is just a good core group that we're part of. And over the years, we've all become friends. And that's really a key. Yep.
You definitely leave me speechless here. I'm humbled by your kind words. And of course, you never know what others are saying. So I appreciate that insight as well.
They've mentioned that you might want to shave once in a while, but other than that, no, I'm just kidding. Nobody's ever said that to me.
It's funny because when I do and I get a nice haircut, people don't recognize me.
They don't know you. Just keep the fedora. You'll be okay.
Can you guys see the chat on the side?
We can, yes. Yep.
Okay. Hello, Jen. Jen is from a group up in Jamestown. Yeah, I hope I'm correct on that, right, Jen?
Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
And I don't know if you know this guy.
I do, and he's a fine young man. He truly is. Yes. Mr. Lee Baldwin, a good man, good guy. Yep. Yeah, we'll talk all right. I know what he wants to talk about, too. So.
I'm sure he does. Thanks, Matt. Paranormal consultant is Matt.
Matt.
Hopefully I can connect you guys, Dale. So
we've kind of quasi-connected through your show and over the last few years. Was he at Matt? Were you at the Harry Potter Festival? Alohomora. Yeah, I believe we talked there and different events and so forth. But yeah, Matt's got a great program. We'd like to tune into that too. That's very, very good. Yeah,
I believe he'll be asking soon to for your gracious.
Sometimes he's like in the moon. Sometimes he's like in the moonlight with his pictures and things. With his video, it's pretty cool.
You should have seen the last thumbnail I made of him. You heard of the game World of Warcraft?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
I put his face on one of the characters because he was playing it for his show. That's that Canva that I sent you. I'm able to do all that stuff. So monkey around with that. You guys will find some good stuff to do. So did you guys bring your ketchup and ice cream tonight?
What?
No, you guys didn't see that video.
Sorry, that's against my religion. So
I tried on the show here ketchup and butter pecan ice cream.
Is there something wrong with you? Oh no, that's Lee would join me in asking that question.
Yeah, that's what he wants to talk about, I'm sure.
There's no doubt about that. Very good.
So without further ado, because that's my word of the day, is paranormal investigators and those in the religious aspects. what's your first thought on that?
Well, the first thing that I think people get in religious circles get a little undone about is just the concept of paranormal. If we convert that over to a concept of basically talking about supernatural or the spiritual realm, then it's a little bit easier for folks that have more of a religious bent to relate to it. But I don't think that should change what you do. When you get right down to it, it's my opinion and my study and my research and my travels, all over the world over many years of time, and really confronting the kinds of things that we've seen, that the word paranormal, the word para, it comes from a Latin term that means alongside of. Okay, so when you think of the paranormal, you're thinking of two spheres, two things that are going alongside of one another. There's been a lot of study on quantum physics and things of this nature over the years. It's the concept that there is a second reality that's working simultaneously with the present reality that we're experiencing. So when we talk about paranormal activity, a lot of people immediately go to a lot of the haunting stuff and the ghost hunting stuff and all that kind of thing, which we'll talk about tonight. Right. And we shouldn't shy away from that at all. But what we want to really talk about is how there is alongside of spiritual reality that's behind the scenes of the natural reality that we're walking in, and that's very real. And there cannot be, and I'm getting a little preachy here, but it cannot be that anybody who claims a spiritual relationship can deny that there's a spiritual kingdom or a spiritual realm of things. So what got us involved, there were we talked about some of the specific things, but what really gets me boiling in this in a positive way is the fact that there is a spiritual reality, and we deal in spiritual reality. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go into this just a minute.
Sure. You have a second to say hi to everybody. Mikey, James, Mikey's in Texas. James is in Canada, I believe. So
Yep.
Jennifer, before you get too much further, if you guys don't mind, for those that might not know who you guys are, we just assume everybody just knows you guys. Give a little information about who you are.
Well, we're Dale and Melissa, and that's good enough. That's it. Well, we are two people. Melissa was raised in a family of faith. Her grandfather was a Pentecostal pastor. She's got an uncle and two cousins that are also Pentecostal pastors. And so she's been raised in that, and her great-grandparents, and she has a grandmother on the other side, on her birth father's side, that and that whole family was involved with evangelism and things of this nature. So she comes from this background. I come from a ministry background. I've spent I was ordained in 1980. So that gives you an idea. I was like 2 years old. No, not really.
I was 5.
I was in my 20s. And so in 1980, I was ordained, and I have completed my bachelor's degree in ministry. I have a master's degree in biblical literature, and I have a doctorate in theology. All of these, those 2 degrees earned from Masters International University in Evansville, Indiana. And
you go into, sorry to interrupt, you go into pretty big detail over your background on your show there.
Yeah, on the introductory show there, the intro to the whole thing. So my first session, you can really hear the whole story. We call it, in religious circles, we'll call that testimony, that whole background, that whole story.
And then I was riveted to the TV as I listened and watched your opening one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the mention of that. Both of us together, we have been together. We've known each other for many years, since 1980. Yeah, we've known each other, and we've been together now for about 13 years. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And we are, we live here in Warren, Pennsylvania, in the heart of the Allegheny National Forest. For those of you that are from other places, this is a beautiful, one of the most beautiful places. And by the way, I just read a study on Newsbreak that Warren, Pennsylvania is one of the most affordable places. It's the second most affordable place to live in Pennsylvania. Wow. And it is one of the least crime-ridden areas in the state. And I know it's hard to believe, right?
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, Now, it didn't say how many criminals are actually hiding out here. It just means that they're not active. No, we love our community. We love the area here. I've always believed that unless you, and many people have heard me preach this over the years, unless you love the land that you're in, you have no right to speak into it. So really loving the area. We love New England. I mean, maybe better than anything else. We just love Maine. Our daughter went to school there, went to college there. We really, really enjoy that part of the country. But this area here, we just believe that God has his hand on it for special reasons. So the background is roughly about 30 years in pastoral ministry for me, and Melissa raised in the church and raised in a Pentecostal family and so forth. I was raised in the Lutheran church and then the charismatic renewal, very similar to Pentecostal background. But in the last 13 years, we've kind of moved into a place of saying, God is for everybody. This is not God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God loved, it's so cool because God loved the world so much that he didn't send Jesus to condemn the world, but that through him it might be saved. So that's my preachy part. Okay, that's my preachy part. I really want to get into the discussion, the paranormal stuff, because this is fascinating stuff.
So now I thank you, because I was blessed and the WASP was blessed that we didn't have to go really searching for any churches or anything to back us up, because that was one thing that we were talking about, me and Lee, at one point when we were first starting this, and you saved us so much hassle.
I mean, this is an interesting thing, because when we first became involved, it was kind of like there was a little fear and trepidation here from me. You have to understand that my background, when you're in full-time pastoral ministry in a community and seen as one of the leaders in the community, I was the president of the area ministerial association. I was, blah 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 blah, with all this stuff, right? And so then you start feeling like, well, what is everybody going to think of you? What are people going to think of you if you're involved with this? And what I loved about this group was that we just knew right away that we needed to be engaged with this kind of work, and that it doesn't really matter so much what other people have to say about it, because we can recognize they may speak from their, and watch this word now, this word ignorance. They're speaking now. Ignorance is not, I know it is a name calling thing for kids and all that, but that is not what the word means. Okay, I'm a man of words. All right, many words, some people would say, but I'm a man who understands words with my background and training. Ignorance just means a lack of knowledge. If you don't know enough, then you can be critical about things that you really shouldn't be critical about.